Well, for about 30 minutes or so, I'm going to do a little bit of a drawing. Um, but first, I should put like a sweatshirt on or something or a hoodie. It is cold. Woo! All right, so we're just work on this area. Um, Last 30 minutes I worked on the sky, and now this 30 minutes I'm going to kind of work on the grass and the trees, and not really putting too much attention to any of the areas. I'm just going to kind of and use that like exploration to kind of get an idea of how I want to pursue the color in these drawings. I never know the turnout or the outcome. I don't have like, oh, this is the set I'm going to use, and this is how it's going to be approached and applied. I just kind of, I want to say, I hate saying this, but like it's kind of intuitive. I just kind of work with it until I get it to an area that I feel that it is working, and I'm just going to kind of add color here and there. And for the next 30 minutes, we're going to see where it takes me. That's all I'm going to do is just kind of add colors. What might end up happening is I just kind of add the lighter tones to the grass and tree areas. Maybe even add a little bit more detail. We're just basically refining the image a little bit more. And as I said in the past, I'm just dialing in and kind of zooming in and more detail to the areas that I need more detail. I'm not jumping into detail where I'm hyper focused on the details. I'm just still scribbling, still scratching on the surface of the paper, and basically just adding a little bit more information and adding more and more as time goes on. But today, one of those days where I just kind of add just a small amount of information, and it might not be the correct color or the correct mark, and that's fine by me. Just as long as I'm moving the image closer and closer to its, I want to say like finality, its finished point. And that just goes with working on it over and over again until you get it to a level of completion that you feel comfortable with. And that changes for me from time to time. Sometimes I am okay with it being really abstract. Sometimes I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with that, and I want to make it more refined and clean. But at this point, I am just going to have a little bit of fun and play around with the colors. Nothing too fancy. Nothing too fancy. And just explore the drawing as I move more and more on the surface. Still being very loose with it. Not really defining the edges or defining things too much at this. But I'm just going to slowly add more as it goes by. And then when I come back to it, another drawing session, I will kind of use that as a jumping off point of sorts. Although I don't know how I feel about doing these lives and drawing at the same time. When I tend to do that, I feel like there is, well, I think I found the grade that I was looking for. A level of like, I don't know, uneasiness where I am not performing the level that I'd like to because I'm too busy talking. But that's okay. We'll get there. All my drawings always say, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And it's kind of like me reassuring myself, like, oh, we'll eventually get to the finish line. I think the reason why is back in the past, I used to not finish a lot of drawings. I think I think that's like a thing that you do when you first start out. A lot of the times, is you would start a drawing and you're really excited about it, and then you come across like a point in the drawing where it's things aren't working the way that you want it to work out, and it's causing complications. And then yeah, it's causing complications, and you're struggling a bit, and that struggle leads to you kind of like rage quitting. Like, oh man, this sucks, and you rage quit, and then all of a sudden you're no better off than you were when you started. So I think when I was new, I would rage quit a lot. I had a lot in my sketchbooks. I would look at my old sketchbooks, and I would have a lot like incomplete drawings, like I never finished them. And I think it's because I'm trying to think about like my mindscape, or like where I was at that time. And I think at that time, I didn't want to spend any longer than like 20 or 30 minutes on a drawing. And if I didn't get it done in 20, 30 minutes, I'm like, yeah, that's it. We're done. That's it. We're just going to go ahead with it. And if I didn't, I just didn't want to. I refused to spend more time than that. And I think maybe the reason why is, I don't know, I saw a lot of videos, not videos, but I saw a lot of work of artwork, and I thought that these artists were making these drawings rather quickly, or like, I don't know, I had this illusion in my head that artists made work really fast. And there's some truth to that. Some artists make work really fast, other artists don't. But I would have like a lot of incomplete drawings in my sketchbook, and it was, I don't know where I was, the headspace I was at that time, but there was not a lot of finished drawings in there. There was also like a lot of empty space. I used to, I don't know what was the reasoning behind it, but like a lot of pages were very empty. Like I would draw like an eye, or like a hand, or like part of a face, and then you have like 90% of the paper still full, like empty. I remember those days, and I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I never finished any I never like just finished the drawings or finished the images. I guess I was just really impatient. When all is said and done, I was just really impatient, and I didn't want to have to invest. I didn't want to have to invest any time into it. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting like a hint of blue in these greens here in the area. And so what I'm doing is I'm just adding some blue in these areas that I feel that there's a hint of blue, like a hint of blue in some of this foliage. So I'm just adding some blue here. And I don't know if it's the right solution or the right action, but at least I'm putting it there, because I'm getting a little bit of a bluish tone in some of it. And so I just want to add it there, just to kind of, at the very least, if it's not the right decision, I at least acted on an instinct or what I was noticing. And if it's wrong, it's wrong, and it's okay. But at least I explored that that initial response. So I don't know if the blue's the right choice, but I think there is something there. Like there is something there is some sort of bluish tint, especially on the right here, and to some extent there's some blue happening here. But maybe it's not that blue, and we'll come back to it later on with that idea. But like maybe this blue like works a little bit over here, but it may not work on this right side. Over here it's kind of more earthy. There's some like the greens are kind of brownish. So the greens have a little bit of brown in them, and I don't know if I have a right brown. tone. I'm trying to find my, I don't have enough space to hold my pastels. So let's, maybe I might want to take this Godecker, I don't know what, that's what the color sounds like, and add a little bit in this area, because it's kind of like it's like a skin tone. And so that kind of works. It's great. But I think it works for that instance right there. But I think adding that too early, I think I added that too early. I think I might want to kind of move across the horizon line a little bit and refine some of the tones on over here. And by refine, I mean basically just adding highlights at this point in time, and then maybe as time goes on, I will go ahead and add the darker tones, because all around this horizon line right here, there's some dark tones that I'm not really accounting for. That is a happy little bridge. It's a happy little bridge. I'm just gonna put a little happy bridge, maybe some happy clouds, some happy grass, happy trees. They're all happy. It's just a happy little bridge. And but there's some happy highlights. It's actually down this area. I can even say that some of the green has, again, like a dark brown hue. Not like a light brown hue over here, but like a dark brown. We could almost make the argument that this brown could be kind of an orange in nature, like an orange-ish hue over here, and this over here's more like a light brown as well. So we're just kind of playing around in this area, just slowly dialing in the detail of sorts. That's why, thank you. It's just we're just slowly dialing in details, refining things, and as I said in the past, just making things a little bit more detailed. I'm going to use a different green. I think this green is closer to the highlights over here. Although, the thing about these pastels, man, once they're getting smaller and smaller, it gets harder and harder to like draw with them. And you just got to get used to kind of applying small layers of tone or color, and not worried about the details. You have to kind of get used to this idea of suggesting form, and that's hard too, you know. And what I mean by suggesting, gosh, I can't say the word, is you're defining the object, but you're not drawing it all flat out. You're not rendering it, you know. You're giving a hint to the viewer of what that form or what that object is, but you're not adding all the details. Like this photo, I don't know what's happening here. Like I can't draw every strand of grass or whatever vegetation this is. I can't. The photo is not good enough. Everything's blurry. So you have to suggest those things. I think there's some yellow here. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow. There's a little bit of yellow happening right here. And just adding forms. But I am just gonna work on this area for 30 minutes. And then another day I'll come to it. Maybe I'll work this area for 30 minutes. I think what's going to happen is for the remainder of this drawing is I'm just going to work in chunks or work in specific areas and kind of move around from there at 30-minute blocks. And that way I'm kind of forcing myself to kind of move around the drawing. Some artists like to draw like from top to bottom, left to right, or like radiate from one area like they'll start from an eye. Like say if I was drawing a portrait, this would be a portrait. They start from eye and they radiate out. I tend to bounce around. Sometimes I'll draw top to bottom or bottom to top, but I typically like to move around, especially in certain type of drawings. So like this type of a pastel drawing, I feel needs more like moving around to it. I know, what kind of green is that? Got all these greens, I don't know which one I want to use. Gotta find that green. Where, oh, I'll just try this green, why not? I don't think it's the right green, but we're getting something there. We just need to get something on the surface. Maybe it is, I don't know what color that is. It's like a brownish, is it like a brownish green? Does it have some, it feels like it's like a brownish green. What if I were to take some down here? It's probably too light of a brown and kind of mix it in with this green. Would that change it? Again, I don't know. I think it might need to be a little reddish. I don't know. Perhaps that's not good about it. Anyways, let's go back and kind of go back over here and mess around with the greens up top here, just for funsies. Kind of mess with the greens over here and just adding little flakes of color on top. Anyways, I don't know. I'm always trying to. I don't know what colors these are. Like I know they're green, but I'm also trying to color match them with the color greens that I have. I don't have greens. I have like 7 different greens, and you're trying to get them close, you know? So there's a level of experimentation when working with colors, especially if you don't have all the colors. You ever look at those colored pencil artists and they're like their colored pencil collection? It's not collection, but their colored pencil materials, literally every color, like the whole rainbow. And you're like, oh my goodness, they have like $1,600 worth of colored pencils, you know? I don't have, so I have to kind of just color match kind of intuitively, or at least experiment and see if this is close to what I'm trying to get. This area, I don't know what I want to do with it. I don't know, leave it black, or if I want to kind of scumble it the same way I have over here. It's all kind of up in the air at the moment. I think this light green might be closer to this side. Maybe the grass over here is different, or the trees different. So I'm going to see how that looks. Yeah, I think that's a little bit closer actually. I'm being a little bit too detailed though for adding too small marks, but I feel like I might have to do that. What if I were to scumble it? See, I don't know if that was the right choice either. You gotta kind of ask that question, or I don't like when I say I don't know if that was the right choice. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to consider when you're working on drawing. Is you need to constantly be questioning your actions to some degree, and not be worried about making mistakes so much. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad, like, you shouldn't be worried about making mistakes. It's not a bad thing. Mistakes are going to happen, but don't be fearful of them, I guess. If that makes any sense. And we're just going to go ahead and move over here for the next 10 minutes, 9 to 10 minutes. I'm going to just area and slowly just lighten up some green, because the light is coming behind, and so we're gonna add a little bit more variety in the greens over here. Very, very lightly though. I'm not pressing. As I said earlier in the past, I'm just kind of scribbling a little bit the top side here, just adding subtle hints of height. I can do the same thing. Maybe I might even want to do a little bit over here as well, on this very edge. You really can't see it because the camera's so far away. Something right over here, just little bitty marks. It's gonna help as a whole, building up the drawing slowly. And this is where things start to get a little bit more awesome. After I got the base colors, the base forms, now I can start refining those forms. So I made everything I made the color tones very local, and now I can blend and layer and stack colors on top of them. And so you're going to start seeing the compounding effect. This is where all that work to build up everything starts to magnify and speed up. So the drawing, I'm not saying the drawing is going to go faster from now on, but there is going to be more changes that's going to happen at a slightly quicker rate than they were at the very beginning of the drawing. So there's that. So instead of doing like a local color, my local color is like, I'm just picking one green and doing a flat color. And then I'm picking one blue, doing one blue. I'm faceting it a little bit to make it a little bit more, so I can see where things are at. But I'm not really in detail. So I just kind of take local color, green, a dark green, mass out that area. A lighter green, mass out, color this area. Green, color this area. And so now that it's done, I can focus on adding more color varieties to the image and slowly build up. So that's what I'm doing for the next 5 minutes or so. That's what I'm going to focus on. Or not, I don't know. I don't know about focus. We'll see. Is this the same as this green? I feel like this green is brighter. I'm still going to use this green because I can hold it the best, even though it's not the right color green. Just slowly build it up. And yeah, have a little bit of fun. Some green there's like a lighter green over here. You really can't see the changes, but they're happening. They're happening in the small areas. It's like this artist that I follow. I don't know if I follow this artist, but he talks about how he'll spend hours in one spot. Hours. Like he's like, it took me a whole day to work on the fingerprints. I'm like, oh my gosh. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm probably at the patience level that I can actually like that and be satisfied with it. Like I would get some joy out of the scene, out of the process. But when I was younger, man, oh my gosh, I did not want to have it. I did not want to have any of that. Not want to deal with anything remotely time consuming. I didn't want to. Like, I didn't want to work on it too long. It's like, oh, this is boring. This is so boring. And I mean, enough, it was boring. Drawing, in essence, can be quite boring. Now, the outcome of it, the final product, that's where it's like, yes, all this time spent, it's really worth it. I did it, you know. But in the meantime of actually making that drawing, you know, it was dragging your knuckles through concrete, pulling your teeth, right? It was definitely a very, it's one of those things you're just like, I don't know. Was it worth it? Maybe. Anyways, a few more minutes, like 3 minutes, and then we will have to, I'll go on and work on this another day. Just work on another day. Where's my, what am I gonna use? Do I wanna play around with this, a little bit of different yellow over here, maybe? Just a little bit of a different yellow on top of this yellow. I think this yellow is a little too bright. You gotta decide whether this is like a dark green or brown. It's kind of hard to tell. Probably like a green or brown mixed with some black. Something like that. Yeah. 28 minutes. All right. So pushing this time frame. I don't know. Let's just go back and see how this color looks on the reflection here. What if I were to, I think what I'm going to do is I got to treat the reflection. I'm going to probably make marks, and then I'll probably blur it with my finger as time goes on. Because I think I want the edges on the reflection to be soft, and then the edges and the actual object, the thing that's not the reflection, to be harder. So I'm not going to blend the edges on this, but I'll soften the edges here so that there's separation between the between the reflection, the trees that are above the water line. But we'll see. And we only have a few more seconds, and then that is it. I like to keep my live streams and my drawing sessions kind of compact, short and compact, and that way I can come back a little bit later feeling a little bit more refreshed. So I think that's it today. We're at 30 minutes. Got an hour in today. That's good. Did the sky, worked on this bit. I think the next time I will work the bottom half and then go back up the sky. Maybe next time I'll work on this area and this area, then kind of work around, move around the whole area, and then that way I can make some decisions on where I want to approach the color in the future. Anyways, I got to get going. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.